Maybe you've heard of this game and never played it. Maybe you've watched your favorite very silly man play it while eating dinner. Or maybe you are one of the chosen few who decided to play it for yourself because you like to personally experience these games, like me. Anyways, I'm gonna give you a rundown of what this game is. Exit 8 is a psychological horror game where you walk down a looping, Japanese-inspired underground passageway. The objective of the game is to observe your environment each time you walk down the hallway, looking for anything out of the ordinary or if anything has changed at all. Your overall goal is to get to Exit 8 so you can leave, but this is only something that you can do if you're able to successfully keep track of every detail of this hallway. You see, you're only able to progress closer to Exit 8 when you go in one of two directions based on whether or not you've spotted any details that are off. If you notice something is off, or
God forbid, something is there that shouldn't be,
you are to turn around and walk back to where you came from. But if you notice that nothing is off at all, you move forward. You'll know if you're correct if the number around the corner increases, and you'll know if you're wrong if you're back at 0. I would say that the game gave off PT vibes, but I feel like that's not entirely true because it really is just the looping hallway part that kind of reminds me of PT. Other than that, it's its own thing, really. Like, I've never seen any other game like it, to my knowledge anyways, but essentially it's kind of like a game of I Spy, but like with a random chance of encountering like demonic beings and businessman with little hair. That being said, this game in particular struck a chord with me, so I just so happened to stumble upon 3 games that use the same concept as Exit 8, or Exit 8 inspired games, I guess. And I just really wanted to see whether or not these games improve on what the game already had, or add something new to it. The first game I played is called No Tomorrow. You are stuck in a loop. Pay close attention and look for anomalies. If you feel that something is off, turn back. If not, keep going. Reach to floor 0 as soon as you can. The itch.io page also has this video by the creator explaining the process behind the development. If you go try this game out, you should definitely check out his video as well. It's pretty neat. One of the improvements the dev made for this game in comparison to Exit 8 is the length of the game in general. One of their main gripes with Exit 8 is that it felt a bit too short, and I actually agree with this. So what he did to fix that, kinda, is add 13 levels to the game instead of just 8. I do like that it takes place in a home rather than a vague subway hall, which actually gives real PT vibes, considering that, you know, house and looping hallway. I guess that's all you really need for PT, but I don't know if I'm convinced that someone has actually lived here. I guess we are a vampire. That's fine. Those are gigantic fingerprints. Off the bat, I notice a lack of ambience, or maybe not ambience, but just lack of something interesting happening. It feels very empty and blasé. Like, I know these games are supposed to hone in on the subtlety and the anticipation of possibly stumbling onto an anomaly, but something's missing.
What the dog do?
It's the little hair man. It's such a small detail to add, but it just seems to work. It's the moving parts that give off the feeling that I'm going to experience something new every single time I loop the room. And when that moving part is taken out, it's almost as if it's taking away a major point of interest. It detracts my attention when nothing is moving. Or maybe my attention span is just dried out, like that petrified mystery meat in an open container in the back of my fridge. Or maybe it's one of the key elements that makes the players stay a little longer in the game. Who knows? Another problem I noticed, and it's a pretty major problem, a problem that carried over from Exit 8, except a little worse. Huh. Okay, well, I definitely missed something. I'm sure it's gonna pop up as soon as I edit the video. I feel like if the color of something changes, I'm not gonna be able to get it. I just can't. Okay, alright. Look, I know the goal of the game is just looking for these tiny details and trying to spot the differences every single time you pass by them. And yeah, I know there's got to be some kind of challenge and difficulty in it, but when the details that change are so incredibly small and uninteresting, they become way too hard to notice. And rounding the corner back to the first floor can get too frustrating, especially when I just got through smashing my face into my monitor for like 18 minutes trying to find something off. I would be able to overlook this a little if there were more anomalies that show up, but after playing the game for a solid hour, the majority of the anomalies I got were just subtle color changes on like one object. And at some point, I actually forgot that this was supposed to be a horror game. Like, I'm glad the game doesn't rely on jump scares to get that horror feeling, but even the scares it did have just seemed a little mundane and few and far between. Just all in all, I didn't really have a reason to replay it, considering it took so long to finish the game the first time. It was just a little too boring and frustrating. And honestly, more scares and unique anomalies would give me more reason to jump back into the game, even if I'm just playing it so I can spot all of the anomalies that are added in. Because even Exit 8 had this little chart that told you how many anomalies you spotted and how many anomalies are actually in the game, giving me more reason to jump back into the game and see if I can find all of them. And I know I had a lot of gripes with this game, but it does still have its own charm. I really thought it was like a cat from afar. It's okay. If you just want to have a more chill and relaxed game of intense I Spy, then this game is for you, but it's not really a game for those who want a good scare, like me. So yeah, this game definitely improved on the sheer length of the gameplay, but it kind of went backwards in all the other aspects. But the game is completely free, so maybe it's not fair to compare it too hard to a game that actually costs money. But the dev did kind of come off as wanting to improve on Exit 8 to begin with, and we can all use a little construction sometimes, you know? Okay. I love it. When I found this game and read the description, I had higher expectations for it. Story. You are being hired by the unknown company to observe the area of 8 different places with a special elevator. Your job is to observe the floor and make sure that everything is in place on each floor. If something is wrong, press the red button. If not, press the white button. Can you make it to floor 30 and survive this job? This game pretty much takes the concept of Exit 8, but adds additional maps that you can choose from. And on top of that, instead of just going through 8 levels until you win, you have to go through 30. So this game definitely fixes the length problem with Exit 8. And to try and combat the difficulty of accurately observing the environment 30 times, they added a life system. Okay, well, never mind, I guess. Well, 5 lives, to be exact. And on top of all that, they even implemented a difficulty setting, which is pretty new to these kind of games. So, with 10 maps, there's no possible way that you can get sick of restarting in new environments, right? Okay, start from where we left off before. That seems normal. Okay. Oh, good. All good. Okay. I guess not. Everything literally looks the same. There's like no difference. Okay. Well. Yeah, immediately going in, it's not hard to notice just how frustratingly small the anomalies are in this one. I wasn't even able to make it past the single digits on the easiest difficulty. And not only that, I didn't even encounter anything interesting at all after playing this level a couple of times. So obviously this kind of hit me with a little bit of discouragement, but not only am I insanely resilient and a little delusional, I'm also a firm believer in giving everyone a fair chance, and I just know that this game has some positives to showcase. I wasn't out of hope just yet. I still had 9 maps left, and a whole difficulty system that promises to add more anomalies to the game. And fatal anomalies? Okay, cool. I didn't know those existed. So, for the second difficulty that I tried, I put it on hard mode, just to see if it'd be a different kind of difficult. Preferably, not a difficulty that just makes the details smaller and harder to notice, and maybe adds like a monster that chases me or something. I don't know. Tough pizza dough. Just leaving it out in lukewarm area, I guess that's fine. I love it. Beautiful art. Okay, nothing. There's nothing. Nothing is wrong. Okay. No. Well, hard mode showed almost no difference whatsoever, but I did at least make it to the double digits this time. So I was starting to get somewhere, and for the next ones, I put the difficulty as high as it could possibly go, which is called extreme mode. It was pretty terrifying. I forgot the name of it, but it's like that phobia of gigantic things in general, I think. Definitely getting those vibes. It's definitely something I probably have. Huh? I don't know if that's always been there or not, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it hasn't. There's no way that's an anomaly. It's... Or maybe it is? I just don't remember that being there. But okay. I'll just go ahead and call it, see if it worked. Please. 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 Of course. Hollow Live Office. It's like an anime, right? I don't know. I like those models. Very nice. But I have to vanquish them. Is this one dangerous? It was dangerous.
Yeah, I'd like to solve the puzzle.
All right, go ahead. That's it, yeah.
There's just something really uncanny about this hyper-realistic little plush in this very video game looking video game world. Even with the difficulty all the way up, I was only able to get a few interesting anomalies. Most visible anomalies were just kind of these small Tohu plushes, or Toho. Maybe that's how you pronounce it?
Toho. Toho.
Which, you know, not a bad thing. Admittedly though, one anomaly did get me pretty good. Okay, this... I hate it a lot. Overall, this game kind of failed in the same places as No Tomorrow, but topped it off with that tiny bit of extra frustration with the extremely small micro detail anomalies, mixed with the extraordinarily high amount of levels you have to go through, made it actually impossible to beat the game, for me anyways. That aside, it did do well in the inclusion of extra maps, and I know they're probably just a bunch of asset flips, but at least they're interesting to look at for the most part. The grocery store map is actually one of my favorite ones from this game, shockingly. It just gives off those nice little amateur indie horror game vibes. It's very comforting for some reason, and the inclusion of the elevator is pretty cool. It's a very different take from the looping hallway shtick that these games kind of go off of. All that and the little bits of humor throughout was pretty nice as well. I would also like to add that this game isn't really scary either, just like No Tomorrow. There's this little touch of light creepiness added to a couple of the anomalies, but overall it's not scary at all, and that's not really a bad thing for this one in particular, although it does straight up say that it is intended to be a horror game. It just comes off as more of a lighthearted, silly version of Exit 8, and it's also a free game on itch.io, so I think it's worth a little try, even if it's just to see how weird things can get on this game, and they can get pretty weird. So go try it out if you want. Why not? Welcome to Project 13, a unique walking simulator that challenges your perception and instincts in a repeating psych ward corridor. In this immersive experience, you step into the shoes of a disposable proband, devoid of rights and a future, tasked with navigating a mysterious, repeating psych ward corridor. Your objective is clear: report any anomalies encountered during your walks. The catch? A single mistake means starting anew. Only by consistently reporting accurately can you progress through the enigmatic corridors. So, if it isn't obvious by the title of this game, you have 13 floors to go through instead of just 8. And I have to say, immediately starting this game, I'm instantly entertained by the title screen.
Oh my.
Walking down the hall for the first time, I get the first key difference from all the other games: horror vibes. Project 13 doesn't even want to try to be vague or ambiguous with its setting. It wants you to know that it's supposed to be creepy. It puts you on edge with the sound of your steady breaths coming from your gas mask. You would think that someone coming prepared enough to wear a hazmat suit would possibly have like maybe a flashlight or like a weapon or something as well. The unusual dimness of the hospital hallways that are usually supposed to be way brighter. The off-putting choice of font on the posters. Oh, they don't love you. The best is you get rid of them. It's kind of creepy. The man with the soulless eyes, casually walking up and down the hallway with no real objective. I think he's walking, no, he's definitely walking a lot faster. It's a little unnerving. The eerie way the patient's heads follow you. The eerie way the patient's heads don't follow you. This setup is an amazing atmosphere for horror, and I love it. I honestly feel like this game finally cracked the code with this type of genre. I don't know if it's a genre, maybe? The Exit 8 genre, I guess? Project 13 was able to get that itch in my brain that the other games were just missing. While the others attempted to make the game longer by adding more levels, adding more maps, and making anomalies smaller and more difficult to spot, Project 13 solved a lot of these issues by adding more moving parts. Not only that, it also extended the length of the hallway itself and added a lot more interesting details to pay attention to. Okay, that's pretty good. Oh, okay. Every time I failed in Project 13, I never really felt like it was unfair. It was usually because I just got a little too cocky and decided to rush through barbarically.
I'm over here stroking my...
This game kind of reminds me of like one of those haunted house rides at like a state fair. Every character and sound is placed very intricately. I'm not even ashamed to admit the multiple occasions that this game actually got me. Oh. Hello there. I feel like this is very, very loud splashing noise for such a small amount of liquid coming out. That's fine. Anomaly it is. Oh my god. Okay. Alright. Okay. This game has taken the concept of Exit 8 and effectively improved on every aspect of it. And on top of that, the devs still actively update the game, even as I edit this video. Needless to say, Project 13 is my favorite game out of the others that I've mentioned, including Exit 8. If you're into these kind of games, then I can't recommend it enough that you try it out. It's on Steam for like this much money? Probably like $3. So yeah, those are 3 Exit 8 inspired games that I found, and how I feel about them. I've never seen a game like Exit 8 before, and it inspired me so much I decided to make a little video about it, I guess. I'm glad a few people have decided to take up what Exit 8 has brought to us, and I really do hope to see a lot more games like them. They're pretty neat. I feel like I should also add this after the fact that I've already edited this video. Some of these games might be updated now, and maybe even made some improvements, but I've been sitting on this video for like a while now, and I just wanted to finish it instead of letting it chill on my hard drive any longer than it already has. But this is just how the games were from the time I played them, so yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. I plan on regularly making videos like this on things that I'm interested in. So if you like it, then I hope you stay a while, because I plan on making more. That is all I got. Maybe I'll add in like a jump scare or something.